This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.
So, if you are an overachiever, type A, people-pleasing, always having to accomplish type person, you probably suck at attracting healthy romantic relationships. And the reason why is the same reason why you are that overachiever. Welcome to Confidently Cherished. My name is Keshia Rice. I am a dating coach and hypnotherapist. I help ambitious women of faith learn how to overcome their unhealthy relationship patterns so that they can attract healthy relationships and finally have that cherished love that they desire. And I wanted to talk about this whole idea of attracting emotionally unavailable people and why that might be the case for you. So, if you find yourself in a pattern of being with people, and again, I'm a dating coach, so yes, this is about romantic relationships, but this is also about friendships and other relationships as well. If you find yourself in a pattern of being with people who are emotionally unavailable, it's probably because your earliest relationships started out that way. And of course, yes, like a good person who studies mental health, when I say your earliest relationships, I'm talking about your parents or guardians, whoever raised you. Because here's the thing. If you struggle with emotionally unavailable people now, it's because our brains do this fascinating thing where they work so hard not to keep us safe, but to keep us familiar, because our brains see familiarity as safety. So it is often a case of better the devil you do know than the devil you don't know. Our brains will fight to keep us in positions that we are at least familiar with and learn how to survive in, even if that prevents us from thriving the way that we need to. So, if you find yourself as an adult attracting relationships with people who are emotionally unavailable, it's because you're used to being in relationships that don't have a complete connection. You are used to constantly having to fight for attention, or feeling like you had to earn love, that you were only shown love when you accomplished things. You know, when you brought home an A on that report card, or you won the talent show or the science fair. And if that's the case, you don't know how to operate in a relationship with someone who simply loves you for you, who thinks that you are a great person, even if, as an adult, you didn't get the promotion, or your job is average, or, any of those things. If you live an average life, this person still loves you because your life may be average, but they recognize that you aren't average. They find you to be beautiful and great and worthy and extraordinary and unique, even if the rest of the world sees you as average. You are beyond. You are extraordinary for them. And because the love that you were shown when you were younger was inconsistent, you find it difficult dealing with relationships now where a person is available and consistent. So what happens is you end up getting bored. You end up getting turned off because you are used to fighting for love, right? You're used to fighting for relationships, fighting for attention, fighting for validation. So relationships where you don't have to constantly prove yourself, where you're not chasing, where you're not convincing, where there's no work to make the person like you, those feel boring to you. Those feel like, those feel like it's not enough. They feel like maybe there's something wrong with this person because they're not making you earn it. Like if they were really worth it, you would have to do more work to be in the relationship, right? And then because of this, you are not used to showing up as your authentic self because you felt like your authentic self wasn't good enough in the past. What you're used to is hiding your feelings. You're used to having to perform. You're used to people pleasing, minimizing your needs and pretending that they don't matter for the sake of making sure that other people's needs are met. You're used to not having boundaries. You're used to not feeling safe with sharing your opinions and beliefs because they might dare conflict with the person whose love that you're trying to earn. So how do we overcome this? How do we put ourselves in a position to be in relationships that are healthy and cherished? You have to learn how to choose yourself. So there's been this whole thing on social media about decentering men, right? And I get it because, as a good Christian girl and preacher's daughter and all of that, I definitely had a phase in my life where I was a little boy crazy, right? Because, you repress a child and not allow them to have fun, then they get to a certain age and they want to have fun and be a part of all the things they thought they missed out on. So I definitely remember having this phase where I was very boy crazy. I wanted to go out and date. I wanted to have boyfriends. And I was so obsessed with doing all the things that the boys would like, right? So I am a child of the 90s, early 2000s. So back in that time, we used to have magazines like 17 where there were articles on, how to be the girl that a boy likes, right? How to dress, how to wear your makeup, how to do your hair. And I would soak all of that stuff up and go out of my way to be that girl. And in the end, I definitely attracted boys, right? I definitely had boyfriends. I had guys that admired me. I have friends who are not surprised that I became a dating coach because, I started dating at a young age, like 14, 15. And from what they remember, and yeah, from what I remember, I always had a boyfriend, right? So getting in a relationship was not a problem for me. The problem was, I started on this path at 14, 15 years old, and I got to 24, 25, and I didn't know who the hell I was, right? Because I had spent a decade doing all of these things to be what boys liked. And before I got to that, I had spent, 10, 15 years, childhood up to my teenage years, doing all these things to be what my father liked. Trying to get straight A's and be in every club, win every award, have every accomplishment. Not because my parents were necessarily forcing me to, like they weren't tiger parents, but because, I wasn't stupid. I noticed the difference between me having a normal day at school and the difference between that and me winning some award that my dad could go brag to everyone about how smart I was and perfect I was and all of that. So again, I got to my mid-20s and had essentially a quarter life crisis because I didn't know who the hell I was. And I would love to spare you from that. So the way that you avoid that situation is you have to decenter everyone. Not just decenter men, but decenter your parents. Decenter, if you're a Christian girl like me, your pastor in your church. Decenter, really just in general, what society thinks. And learn how to have your needs, your wants, your desires come first. You have to change how you show up. You have to learn how to start showing up not as someone who makes everyone else happy, but someone who makes yourself happy. And I promise you that people will fall into line. Now, that doesn't mean that people will bow to and be happy with you making these changes, because other people benefit when you're a people pleaser, right? When you're so busy on pleasing them to the detriment of yourself, people benefit from that. So when I say people will fall in line, what I mean is the people who really don't care about you, maybe don't even like you, but at the very least don't care about you, they will just fall away. You'll lose those people, and eventually you'll realize that that's for the best. And then the people who do love you and who do care about you, they'll make the adjustments. They may not necessarily like the new empowered and happy you, because again, some of your old behaviors may have served them, but because they love you, they will learn to adjust. So you have to start changing how you show up. And then you have to start learning what it is that you like, what it is that you need in relationships. That will require you spending some time with yourself, learning how to really listen to yourself and your body, learning how to get away from the influence of others. But it will also involve some getting out there at the same time, dating, and really asking yourself, okay, the way that this person treated me, do I like this? Do I appreciate this? Is this what I would want for the next, if depending on your age, when you get married, is this what you would want for the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your life, depending on how old you are, right? And that combination of balancing that time with yourself to think, and then that time getting to know people and exploring what different relationships look like, you will learn what you need, what you want, and that will allow you to set some standards and some boundaries. And then once you set those, you have to enforce those boundaries with the people in your life. You will have to clearly express your needs, not be afraid to speak up for yourself. You will have to prioritize yourself. You will have to learn how to feel your feelings and to know what those feelings are. Part of emotional intelligence and emotional maturity is knowing the difference between being happy and being content, being angry and being frustrated or disappointed. I would highly recommend that you go buy a thesaurus and look up different emotions, basic ones like happy, angry, and see the variations of those. Get a dictionary and look up those words and learn how to fully and clearly and accurately express your emotions. You also want to learn how to differentiate yourself from others. There's this whole conversation, again, online on social media about what do people bring to the table in relationships. And I don't think you should never answer that question. It is a petty test that petty people put forth to you. At the same time, you should answer it for yourself, even though you don't answer it from other people. You should know what sets you apart, what makes you unique, and what makes you so awesome. Because doing that allows you to not be so focused on what other people are doing. Doing that gives you a confidence that when you are going into relationships and you are dating, that, yeah, you're meeting people to see if they are aligned with what you want, aligned with what you need in a relationship. And if not, it's not a matter of being petty or haughty or saying, oh, it's their loss, but it is knowing that you do have plenty to offer to the right person. And if this person is not the right person, it's perfectly okay, because you're waiting until you meet someone who is worthy of having all that you have to offer. And again, you cannot do these things if you are so focused on pleasing other people, so focused on searching for validation, so focused on achieving for achievement's sake, that you never allow yourself to get to know yourself and what you want and need. And as I was saying this, I was just thinking about how sad that is, about how you are this amazing person and you're so focused on pleasing other people and making other people happy that you're depriving yourself of knowing how awesome you are. So what I want you to do is to decide right now how you want to show up in relationships. I want you to decide right now what you are and are not available for anymore in relationships. And I want you to spend this time really getting to know yourself. To some extent, F everyone else, right? Focus on what it is that would make you happy. And if you haven't thought about that in a while, couldn't be a better time than the present to start, right? So I love you so much. I hope that you have found this helpful. And let me know. I am on social media at Keshia Rice, KESHIARICE, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. So message me and let me know. How are you prioritizing yourself and your needs right now? Till next time, again, focus on you. Give it one day, 24 hours. What do you have to lose? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have two things to say. One, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And two, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that like by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeshiaRice.com/links. That's KeshiaRice.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.